Good morning. So good to be with you this morning. My little cat Bo has, he's not so little, let's be honest, has decided to join us this morning from my home here in Albany. I am Pastor Lori Kochanski, and I am the assistant to the Bishop for Faith Formation. I'm so glad to be able to stop this morning. I'm glad you stopped whatever you were doing in this moment to just be together. There's a delight in that, and I have a yearning always to find ways to connect with others in this time. I specifically use the word stop because it's a tool I've used in mindfulness, and a lot of times I like to share a practice with you. And STOP has become an acronym for really pausing intentionally. There's actually words that are put to each of the letters in STOP that sometimes help me, especially when I feel like I am just floating through the day, which is totally okay. Some days we just need to float through. But it's so important to intentionally pause what we're doing. And so the acronyms with STOP that help me are, to stop is the actual S, so it's the word stop. T, to take a breath. So let's take a breath. You've all decided to be here, so take a breath. Take a breath. The O, once you've taken a breath, is to observe. When you took that breath, was there a tightness or a lightness? What was going on in your body, in your heart, in your mind? So we've got the S for stop, the O for observe. Oh, I skipped T. Take a breath. O for observe. And then P is proceed. So let's just stay in that O, the observing, for a little bit, about noticing what's going on and where you are. It's so important to take that time a lot of times every day. Perhaps every time you stop at a stop sign, to stop and take a breath and observe, and eventually proceed, but to linger in the observing part. For me, I've been observing that it's hard to take in news. So what I do is I scroll through on my computer screen or my phone screen or my any device screen, and I just notice what causes me to pay attention. I observe that. This morning as I was scrolling through the news, I noticed a line of cars at the airport, a picture of a line of cars at the airport. And it caused me to stop and to take a breath, actually, and then to read the article, to notice what was going on. And it's actually a line of cars of people waiting for food. There's going to be food delivery at our airport. So instead of it being a bustling hub of folks going here and there, it's become a place where people can go and get food. I'm sure some of your communities, maybe even your churches, have become that place in this time. I noticed in myself that the last time I was at that airport observing a line of cars, it wasn't about food, but it was about justice. I was on my way to the ELCA church-wide assembly, and we were going there to talk about issues of justice and what it means to be a church. And the line of cars was people taking people everywhere and to and fro. But for me, the last time I was at that airport, I was going to a place where we were going to talk about justice and what it means to be followers of God. Sometimes when I stop, and I do that, stop, take a breath, and observe, I notice in myself a yearning to live into the promises that we as a wider church have made to each other around issues of justice, around fighting racist behaviors, about noticing and naming in our world. Sometimes it's hard, though, to figure out, how do we do something from our home? How do we enact that justice that we're called on to live and to do when we're stopped here? So this morning, as a way of beginning here in our stopped time, that stop, take a breath, we're still in the observation, I'm going to ask us to do a Friday time of loving kindness meditation, a time where we call in our minds what it means to be a people who believe that all are worthy of God's love, all are worthy of justice and grace and mercy. So loving kindness calls us to be in this moment and to think about the people we encounter every day. So what I want you to do right now in this take a breath observing time is to take another breath and first call to mind someone who you really don't know very well, someone that you might encounter. Perhaps it's the person who delivers your mail that is so essential, but you may not even know their name. I want you to think about someone like that. Just notice who first comes to your mind. Now, as you have that image, I want you to just think and to repeat this phrase in your head. May all beings have peace. May all beings have grace. May all beings have love. Now, in this loving kindness meditation is a time for us to call to mind someone who is in our lives whose name we do know. For me today, as soon as I said that, I thought of my neighbor, Barbara. I like Barbara a lot. I don't know her really well, though, but I know her enough to know when she's hurting and when she's feeling some joy, when she's getting out of her car. I can notice right away. I'm going to think of Barbara right now and take a breath. May all feel and know love. May all beings experience mercy. May all beings experience grace. Taking another breath, I encourage you to think of someone who is hard to know, who pushes your buttons, who makes you have to stop a lot of times in a day and take a breath. I'm not going to name that person right now. But trust me, we all have them. And in the noticing, I encourage you to send those same thoughts toward God, for them and for the world. May all beings know the power of love. May all beings experience mercy. May all beings know grace. Take another breath. Thanks again for stopping here and pausing and noticing. Now, I call on you to think of someone that you love that may not be with you every day, but that you love dearly. I'll tell you today, my first thought is of my aunt. She's watching right now. I love her, haven't seen her for a while. So when you have that image in your mind of that person that you love, take a breath. Take a breath. May all beings know love. May all beings experience mercy. May all beings know grace. It's a powerful thought for our world right now, where people are lining up at airports to get food because they need it, where there is danger in the streets, sometimes because of the color of our skin. I encourage you to remember who you are, to ground yourself in your faith, And then the P. I haven't named the P yet of the stop. So we've stopped, we've taken a breath, we've observed, and in our observation have talked and meandered around lots of things. But the P is proceed. Proceed into the world as the gift that you are. Feel God's blessing showering on you to do the work you're called to do, which might just be stay where you are and be. But to proceed with intention and care into this wide world. I thank you for stopping here, listening and sharing, paying attention. I wish you the best of days.